Von Berlin, Kreuzberg nach Italien in nur einer Nacht. Lenk den Wagen auf die Autobahn in Richtung deiner Stadt. Über Grenzen durch die Alpen nur 3 Fragezeichen. Und die Landschaft ändert sich, als wären es andere Jahreszeiten. Du schreibst wieder am Profi noch, ich schick dir Live-Location. Fahr 200 durch den Brenner, unsere Playlist auf Rotation. Wie schon erlebt, 4 Jahre spielen sich in meinem Kopf ab.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to our first ever 5 Degrees vlog. We are on a Europe tour, as you know, and because of that, we thought we should properly introduce ourselves. And I start. So I'm Zoran. I am mainly responsible on the talent side, acquiring the best talent I can find or we can find all across Europe. I also do product, brand, essentially the soul of 5 Degrees and how we communicate it. And quickly about myself, I've always done this, always loved helping people that are ambitious and entrepreneurial find their path. That's why during university I helped build Think, which is one of the biggest and talent-dense startup student initiatives all across the continent. And what fascinated me about this work is how quickly talent compounds when it is in the right environment. And that's one of the reasons why we exist here at 5 Degrees.
I'm Olivia. I mainly focus on the company side, so attracting the right startups to work with and partnerships with the scale-ups and VCs, and essentially also the investing heart of 5 Degrees. Quickly on my background, I started my entrepreneurial career quite early when I was like 16 years old. Discovered e-commerce for myself and brand building around e-commerce. So built around 6 brands in total, managed to sell 2 brands in the end, I think in my second semester at university. And while being at university, initiatives that were pushing entrepreneurship weren't that present back then at our university, so I got quite distracted by all of the people doing prestigious banking and consulting internships, and also I have done some private equity internships, and after university started out in venture capital, which in the end was a great choice because that led me to build relationships with founders, and we started matching some of our brightest friends at university with some of the founders that I worked with, and that leads us to the question, what is 5 Degrees? So essentially 5 Degrees mission is to create the next generation of founders by connecting them with current founders for jobs. Best if the current founders are not super obvious yet and as early as possible and on the trajectory to build generation-defining companies. So 5 Degrees helps exceptional engineers and operators find their breakout companies before building their own. There are so many examples that prove that this is one of the best ways to actually start your entrepreneurial journey. Like Anton Osika, the founder of Lovable, one of the fastest growing AI companies in the world right now. Before he founded Lovable, he was also employed at a startup in Stockholm called Sana. Another legendary example is Steve Jobs, who was with Atari before he founded Apple. So we are doing this by having our talent network where founders and talents can meet and match for jobs, and also hosting our in-person founder showcases where you can basically come by and listen to a few pre-selected founders pitching to you why you should join them.
Exactly. And we started in Germany. At some point it sort of worked, and we also experimented with some first expansions. Shout out to Alberto in Italy. And after doing that, we just decided to go bigger, that there's even more potential to do this all over Europe. And that's why we had this crazy idea about a Europe tour where we visit 12 startup ecosystems in 12 months and host 12 founder showcases, our flagship event in each of these locations. And we will start in Berlin, then we go to Munich, and we wanted to bring you along the journey. We'll document everything before the founder showcases, during the showcases, after them, how we meet interesting people. And for Germany, we have quite a nice lineup. We'll talk to Judith Dada from Visionaries, we'll talk to Simon Schminke from Crandom, and many more super inspiring people. So stay tuned. It's gonna be very cool.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that we can document all of this and share with you. So I hope there will be some very interesting learnings and nuggets for us to share with you. There will be, so stay tuned. So right now we are going to meet Judith Dada. She's a general partner at Visionaries Club here in Berlin. And Visionaries Club is one of the most ambitious funds in Europe. So curious to hear more from Judith. Let's meet her. Hello.
Hi guys, welcome to Visionaries Club. Come in.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ooh, very nice. Cool. Oh, du bist so süß. Nein. What brought you here? What brought you to Visionaries Club to Berlin?
Visionaries Club is a story that's been a long time in the making. Actually, Robert and I somewhat started our journey in venture capital together almost 10 years ago. I decided that I really wanted the kind of intimacy and the ownership of working at a small boutique firm. And I think Visionaries Club is by far the most ambitious and hungriest fund in Europe, you know, on the steepest rising trajectory. And so it was not that hard of a decision to kind of go back to my roots and join forces with Rob and this incredible team again. And so here I am today, general partner of Visionaries Club. We invest in early stage startups across Europe, have been very lucky to back incredible companies like Tacto, Lovable, Personio, Tandem Health, and many more.
You're mostly based in Berlin. Of course, you're traveling a lot. But maybe what makes you excited about Berlin as an ecosystem? Because I have the feeling that maybe in the last few months, Berlin has been quite getting under the radar and not being that hyped anymore. Maybe some companies like N8N like kind of push the hype again. But yeah, maybe what's your opinion about Berlin as an ecosystem?
I kind of think we would all do well in Europe to think of ourselves as one big ecosystem. I kind of don't like the comparison as Berlin the better ecosystem or Munich the better ecosystem. You're literally talking like a 4-hour train ride. Like, what are you smoking? We should be thinking of ourselves as one ecosystem, the kind of, you know, European startup ecosystem. Even Zurich, it's going to take me like 1 hour and 20 minutes to go there tomorrow. And so I think oftentimes in Europe we have this problem that we've almost been gaslit into believing that we're all very far away from each other when we're really not. Berlin is amazing, but really I'd consider myself part of the European ecosystem.
We also observe more and more young founders. I mean, especially with AI, it's so much easier to build something, obviously. So we observe more and more young founders raising rounds right now. What are you observing right now? I think you have more,
100%.
much more. They have like 21, 22 years old.
Oh, 18 years old.
Wow.
18, 19 years old. We just backed an incredible founder. He just turned 18. AI is kind of the great equalizer. It's a great democratizing force. I fiercely believe that AI really gives the curious and the people who are willing to work hard superpowers. If you think about, you know, kind of what AI can help you achieve, not just in terms of building, but also in terms of learning, it's the best tutor anyone could hope for. I think that today, an 18-year-old with a bunch of token spend can make the progress that a 30-year-old could make after 15 years at some corporate.
If you maybe were 22 today, in today's day and age, what would you do?
I've actually asked myself that question. I think the most important skill is curiosity. AI is an incredibly powerful tutor, but it's also going to be the most seductive drug in terms of passivity, right? In terms of just sitting in front of your phone, getting sucked into some content loop, you know, having kind of systems that abstract thinking, that kind of do all the work for you. That I think as a young person, the best thing you can be doing is engaging in your own curiosity, engaging in your own agency, actually using AI as a tutor, right? Using AI to make you smarter, not to do things on your behalf all the time, but kind of, you know, do things on your behalf so you can get even smarter and can kind of up-level yourself to an even higher degree. You need curiosity. You need the need inside yourself to learn more, to know more.
Auf jeden Fall, ja.
Unten von hier müssen wir noch ein Bild machen.
Ja, hab ich auch schon gesehen.
Big welcome to the Meet the Founders Night from 5 Degrees and the beautiful Buena office and sponsored by North Zone as well. So yeah, thank you all for coming, and I think all of this alone deserves an applause, so we get started. So you will share the story right now and then we jump into the founder demos.
Age of 5 Degrees with Bento, and that's why I'm super excited to hear about the story.
Cool, thanks so much.
I'm Dean, I'm the founder and CEO of Buena. We are building a way for more people to own residential real estate by making it simpler to own, but also simpler to finance, to insure, and to bank.
How would you describe building in Berlin today?
It's funny, I think it changed a lot. I think probably 10, 15 years ago were like the golden ages of Berlin with all the rocket internet companies. And then I think for a lot of years it was really quiet. There's just a few companies that come to mind that were like breakout successes like Trade Republic. But I feel like in the last 2 or 3 years it's picking up again. We have companies like Langdog or like Born or Buena, N8N and so on. And I really hope, and I think that's what the previous generation did wrong, that like our generation of founders really put in the effort of building the ecosystem up and not building great companies, cashing out and going to southern France and like basically never work with young founders or like young people again.
What motivates you to do all of this?
First, it's the mission of the company. I mean, I told during our presentation like the background of my parents and how they basically never invested any capital. Like reducing the barriers or removing the barriers to owning residential real estate is just deeply personal to me. And besides that, I think building a company just enables you to do all the things that you love to do. Like I'm a designer, I can design our office, I can design our product, I can hire amazing people I can spend basically every waking hour with. And trying to build kind of the biggest company with the mission that we have is just incredibly motivating.
Nice, thanks man.
Thank you.
Like about your culture, you have a very specific culture at Buena. I think I know lots of people from Buena who actually dropped out of university. How would you describe your kind of dropout culture and hiring people who dropped out?
I mean, I think it starts with me because I basically have never seen a university from the inside. I really wanted to drop out of high school, but my parents didn't allow me to. And I think what dropping out of university correlates with is just having this urgency to make progress, like not waiting 3 to 5 years to finish university, to then get a job, to then make progress. But when you sense you have the opportunity to make progress, you kind of grab it and you just start working. And we have just learned that most people who dropped out and work at Buena dropped out while working at Buena and kind of just never went back to university. I'm incredibly thankful for that, but I think it's also very telling of what we are trying to build.
I'm Daniel, I'm co-founder of Curaneo, and we're building the first fully technologically based ASCs, so ambulance surgery centers in Germany. I think we have now very different generations of founders and builders, and like with a lot of the early founders now became VCs or building something else now, and you have now a very different group of people. What I love really about the current batch of founders that I at least have a lot in common with and exchange regularly. I was at a dinner last week and I met someone that I haven't met before, and the first question he asked was, how can I help? And this attitude is awesome. I love that really.
I'm Dominic. I'm a principal at Northzone. We're a global investment fund with offices across the US and Europe. I think Berlin obviously had, what created the Berlin startup scene was to some extent Ollie and his brothers with Rocket, right? And there was a special type of company building, very operationally heavy. On the other hand, also a great culture, right? Like that was real hustle, and I think that was something new. And now, of course, the times have changed to some extent where the companies that are really flying are more technical by nature. And I think Berlin is actually going through that moment right now, right? Where we combine the raw hustle and just insane speed and focus with really great tech talent. I think Berlin has a ton of stuff to offer, and for all that's great about SF, Berlin is the way better city to live in, right? Whereas like there everyone breathes tech. I think here it's a bit different, right? Here you have much more designers, artists, you have people that do entirely different things, and to some extent being a great founder also means to find novel ideas and not just get stuck in the same thing 24/7.
We just arrived in Munich from Berlin, 5-hour drive with the train, beautiful weather, and now going to the Airbnb, prepping everything for the next Meet the Founders night here in Munich at the Takta office. Still a lot of things to do, but we are hyped. Let's go.
What happens is you begin to notice all the simple things in life.
We are 30 minutes before the pitch night here in Munich in the Takto office. We are already super hyped for first people coming, super excited.
And we actually have one surprise company, which is coming from Berlin, from the event session yesterday, which is Buena. Very excited for that.
We are going on a Europe tour with 5 Degrees, and we are doing this kind of event, these kind of evenings all over Europe. Yesterday we've been in Berlin, now in Munich. In 2 weeks we'll be in Paris, and then also all these other amazing startup ecosystems. And if you want to join and also explore other ecosystems, feel free to join. And yeah, that's it. Let's have fun, some more pizza, and get to know each other.
I'm Till Wagner, the COO of AskLeo and also one of the founders, and we're building the multi-agent system for large enterprise procurement. All our root values basically come from Silicon Valley, so after we went there, I always say we got Silicon Valley brainwashed a bit, like by being humble, by really caring for the customer and the problem they have, and not some shiny other vanity metrics that might be out there. So really caring for the customer, and yeah, the two main things that are out there, like building and selling and getting the product to the customer and solving real problems, like the YC motto, like make something that people want.
We are on our way to Starnberg to interview Simon Schminke from Creandum about the German and European ecosystem. Super hyped.
Very excited.
Let's go.
Soren and I are in front of Simon's house right now in Starnberg, and let's go visit him.
Olivia, Soren, welcome. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Hey, man. Good to see you. Come on in. Thanks for coming over to beautiful Munich, or Starnberg, which is a small town south of Munich. I'm a partner at Creandum, which is a global venture capital firm, the early stage specialist here in Europe and then more and more in the US. And we focus on the early stages. Every 6 company that Creandum invests in becomes $1 billion business or more, which is in today's day and age a good ratio in early stage venture capital. That's an exciting time to be in, and here in Germany especially.
Looking at Germany right now compared to other ecosystems you have in Europe as an investor, like how bullish are you still on Germany compared to maybe some other ecosystems?
Yeah, absolutely. Germany today is still the second largest ecosystem in Europe. There's the UK, especially London. Then there's Germany fighting with Paris and the Nordics of second and third place. The advantage and disadvantage of Germany is that it is more than one city. In France, it's Paris. In the UK, it's London. In the Nordics, it's predominantly Stockholm. It's a little bit of Copenhagen and some things happening in Finland. In Germany, the landscape has completely changed. It used to be Berlin and Berlin only, and over the last, I would say, 3 to 4 years, there's more and more activity, startups being built outside the Berlin hub. If you look at Creandum's activity in Germany of the first 10 years, all deals were done in Berlin. If you look at the Creandum deals in Germany, or the DACH ecosystem as we call it, the German-speaking ecosystem, over the last 3 years, not a single one was in Berlin. And we've done 6 or 7 outside. We've done Stuttgart, Karlsruhe, Freiburg, Zurich, Vienna, Munich.
What is maybe also something we can learn from these ecosystems in Germany to make our ecosystem even better?
And we Germans are often capped in our imagination by how big things can be and how impactful an individual can truly be towards a new idea or a new product. And I wish the Germans would become a little bit more daring and a little bit more ambitious, a little bit more tempting to dream big. We're still very rational. We're still very operationally good, process-driven, and these are elements in every company that are important. But to be a true visionary founder, I think you need to dare to dream a little bit bigger. So if us Germans could work on that element, I would appreciate it.
One last question, but if you, literally you, were 22 again, what would you do? I just really want to know what would you do. Would you join a startup? What would you do?
Does this go in the video? If I were 22, 23 again, I would make sure I'm surrounding myself with individuals that are on the forefront of artificial intelligence, wherever I find them. Could be here, could be in France, could be in Stockholm, could be in the Valley. I would make sure I'm surrounded by people that are on the absolute forefront of what's happening in technology today, and then get inspired by those. I would try to learn as much as I can, and then try to find a niche to build something where the application of the new technology hits the demand of what's out there. It hits, solves the purpose, solves the problem, meets the purpose. But I would predominantly make sure that I surround myself with the smartest people I can possibly get access to. Be inspired by them and then develop an idea to start a company from there on. That's what I would do if I would be 23.
Thank you so much. Today we're visiting André Petri, co-founder and CEO of Tacto. Tacto is an AI procurement startup which convinced investors like Sequoia and Index to invest more than 50 million to invest into its mission. Okay, let's go inside and meet André. By the way, did you know that more than 50% of the cost of the creation of a physical product is created in the supply chain? It's very crazy. Yeah. So I'm curious how Tacto is solving that.
Hi, welcome.
Hello. Hi, André.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Nice to see you.
First of all, we have a present for you.
Oh, thanks so much.
Some chocolate for you and your team, because we could host our beautiful session yesterday in your office.
Yeah, thanks so much.
So
yeah, this is our office. We just moved here 1 year ago or something like that. Our lovely coffee area. Yeah, there's a funny anecdote about the coffee machine. Right? So this is financed by Sequoia, the coffee machine, because our employees always complained that our coffee is so bad in the old office, or when we did the financing round. So there was like, I don't know, 50 million investment and so on. And handwritten, it was +1 coffee machine. So therefore, Sequoia and Index bought the heart of our employees from day one. It's like the kitchen. I think everyone is a bit camera shy. So
hi, hello.
So these are actually our values. So some things that everyone here lives and breathes from day one. This is our strategy and ops team.
What we're doing right now is we're trying to expand the product ambition. So one project we're currently looking at is analyzing drawing parts and essentially finding out if we can help source them ideally or optimally. I think this, the outcome is going to be really, really impactful for our customers. But so far it's still in development, and we don't want to oversell it.
This is Franz. I just want to introduce you to Franz.
One sec.
Ich lieb's, das authentisch. Wir schneiden alles zusammen.
It's not scripted. So, Franz is our head of business development.
Okay, perfect.
And he's, I think, the embodiment of Stay Real, because he always wears his silver chain across.
Hi, what's your name?
Olivia.
Olivia, Franz, nice to meet you. I take this one.
About
myself. What should I tell you about?
You embody the
Stay Real value.
Being real, right?
Yeah, that's true. I think everybody always tells me about my chain, which you can see always, usually on a white shirt, but also on this sweater. I mean, I think that's what Tacto is all about. The most important thing is that everybody comes here, authentic, humble. We really look for that in every talk to people that would join us eventually. And yeah, I really try to bring that here, to bring some fun, to bring myself, my style, whatever it is. And yeah, I think like this we all feel safe here and feel like we can just strive together.
If I steal your kisses, baby, pay my bill. We got the whole world ahead and the old world behind. Whole world ahead and the old world behind.
What's actually the long-term vision? What keeps everyone going?
Yeah. So we really want to put manufacturing back on the map. So we want to help our customers, which are all manufacturing companies, to become even stronger. And for that, they need to become really, really good at procurement, because manufacturing means you buy thousands of different materials all over the world. And that's super complex. And what we do is we build an AI system to help these companies fight this complexity, but also source these parts cheaper in the end, because that's their biggest cost leverage. And that is like our entry into the manufacturing world. And actually our vision is to really build an intelligent layer on top of manufacturing. So we are in the end the leading AI application company in the whole industrial world. And that's what we're actually working on.
So we are in Munich. You decided to found Tacto in Germany, Munich. What made that decision to actually found your company in Germany, in Munich?
Tacto is a pretty technical company and we work with manufacturing. So like hardware, I think there's no better place than Munich because this is what the ecosystem is all about, solving hard technical things. There's a lot of talk about American dynamism and we have to get back manufacturing or the hard industries and so on. But the reality on the ground is not like that. I think there are 10 better robotic startups in Munich than in San Francisco. And therefore, I think that's something where we are really strong, not shying away from hard things, but solving them. And I think that's what other people can learn from us, actually.
Why do we have those products here? Actually, they're not that random. They are produced by our customers. Tacto has more than 300 customers now that are representative for like the typical industrial companies in Germany and in Europe. And here, for example, we have buttons that are part of the Porsche 911. Chemical products here. It's not working here because we have to turn it, but I won't do that now. The skis, it's for kids, for example, Ravensburger. Every German kid knows that who grew up here. Beer, if the kids get a little older. We also have like Rivella, which is one of the most iconic Swiss brands. Lots of those parts, for example, from Daimler and also Femag, that they are some part of. Like really mechanical engineering, they represent real factory stuff, so no physical product gets created without the industry.
Hey guys, we are at the CDTM, which is a famous university program between LMU and TUM about entrepreneurship. And the crazy thing is, the CDTM over the last couple of years has produced 9 unicorns. We wanted to understand how this program is shaping the German startup ecosystem and are lucky enough to spend some time with the management, with some alumni, and Risa joined us as well. So let's go.
My name is Samuel and have been part of the management team here at CDTM. CDTM in general is a joint institution of the TU Munich and the LMU, so basically like the 2 main universities in Munich. And we are essentially, or offer an add-on study program revolving around, it's called technology management. In the end, it's sort of entrepreneurship education towards an interdisciplinary group of students who want to just learn more about how to actually shape this entrepreneurial mindset. If it is now in founding a company or maybe also going into different other areas. It might be research, politics, anything like that.
Should we also have a look around?
Sure, absolutely. This in general is more of, let's say, the office area. There are other offices of my other colleagues. Now this is where we move over to the slightly more social part of CDTM, which is also, let's say, a very important factor here. What used to be, let's say, a bit more of a collaboration working room has developed a lot more into lots of ping pong. On the one hand, the kitchen area. Yeah. So, I mean, in the end, we sometimes call CDTM a bit of a shared flat. With all of its upsides and downsides that I mentioned. Exactly. So some students, you sometimes feel like also live here almost, but I mean, that's also what generates a lot of this great atmosphere.
Yeah, so my name is Lucian. I have a background in mathematics from TUM. Also studied technology management here at CDTM. After CDTM, I co-founded Cento with 2 mates from CDTM. Cento was a software startup in the retail tech space. And after that, I founded my own tech recruiting agency, which is what I'm running right now.
What would you say is then the secret sauce of the CDTM? Is it these very curated cohorts? Is it that you see role models so closely and think of, hey, I could be this as well? Or what would you say is the secret sauce? What's the magic here and what can we learn from it?
Yeah, so I think, most of the things that you've mentioned, the baseline for all of this is really a super small, highly motivated, highly capable cohort.
I'm Viet from fall 2016. CDTM class, and I'm currently an investor, soon to be launching my own fund.
How would you say that the CDTM shape your entire career?
I think predominantly culturally. I think people at CDTM and in the broader ecosystem showed me what's possible. That kind of like unlocked a new thinking and then broadened the horizon of what's possible as a student. So I think the biggest unlock for me was culturally.
Would you say that's also the secret sauce about the CDTM?
I think the content itself, it's not super different from other programs. I think the most that you get from curriculum or content here is like the unstructured things, things that are, you know, next to curriculum, meeting people, watching them doing ambitious things, building up things, creating stuff, whether it's, you know, companies back in the day or right now, like a lot of people are building up hacker houses. I think just like creating stuff that's super ambitious is probably the secret sauce, bringing ambitious people together so everybody can cross-pollinate each other culturally.
What would be your advice to the recent joiners to make the most of the CDTM?
Build things for the sake of building. Treat things like a toy. I think a lot of people just like, you know, build companies, start projects because it's the next logical thing, and do stuff in groups. Especially now in the age of AI, I think the barrier to start and building things has minimized so much that you just can get going, and you can just like use AI like a toy and just play around with your friends.
Okay, so now we're back in Berlin, which is home for us. Let's do a little recap for you, like a personal recap from myself and from Zoran.
Yeah, so I think I have two interesting observations. Number one, Berlin, Munich, German ecosystem in general is, I think, quite underrated because we didn't have the crazy headlines in the recent months. But if you go really deep into the respective ecosystems, like a Berlin, like a Munich, you see that there are so many great companies coming up and already being built. And every company have a very, very high talent bar. And it's, I think, quite special that, as said, you have companies across the board in different industries, in different locations. Most of the people outside of Germany haven't really heard of, but we as insiders know they're really, really good, have a high talent bar, and they are everywhere. There's like a Peak, Buena, Langfuse, Langdog in Berlin, there's Tacto, Atira, Comstruct, and so many other companies that are just kicking ass, but maybe don't do the crazy headlines. I think we are very underrated there. And then the second thing is, I always thought, what's the best ecosystem? I think it's the wrong framing of the question. I think it should be, what's the best ecosystem for you to build in? And yeah, it always depends. If you want to build something super technical, maybe Munich is better. If you want to build something more applied, probably Berlin is better. So I think that's my two observations.
Very interesting. Yeah, I also have a few observations. I think the first one is that we tend to be, like as Germans overall, unfortunately, to be very, very humble. And maybe that's why we don't have those headlines, because we try to be like, yeah, we have done this, but it's not that special, so we're not going out there and being loud about it. So that's one observation, which is maybe not on the brightest side, but maybe something we could all learn from and improve. The second one is, I think Germany definitely has the right to win, or Europe, but probably coming out of Germany, has definitely the right to win in physical AI, because with all the Mittelstand, the German called Mittelstand, which is basically like family-owned firms producing hardware, like drills, for example, like they could start collecting the data and already, which is like the biggest bottleneck for physical AI companies, start collecting the data and already train some robotics companies or support startups that are aiming to fix this, like for example, Micro AGI. So this is like a huge potential. And a third observation would also be, adding to what Judith Dada said, in the end, like, yes, we have all these single ecosystems all across Europe, but it's actually not that far. Like, it's just like 3-hour, 4-hour train ride, or maybe 1-hour flight, and that's it, and you are already in this ecosystem. So we shouldn't view Europe as we have so many separate ecosystems. In the end, it's almost one ecosystem, and we should stay closer to each other. And last but not least, big thank you to Northzorn, Buena, and Tacto for being such lovely hosts and organizing our founder showcases with us. It was very, very lovely, and I really appreciate their hostess, because they went above and beyond. So definitely we'll be back, although we live in Berlin.
And see you in the next one.
Yes.
SD card. Slow shooting may stop.
Du kannst reden.
Okay.